Hello and welcome to this video. I posted on Instagram and YouTube that we're doing a Q&A, so I'm just gonna basically go through the questions and answer them best way possible. So from Instagram, Focal Gardens asked best strimmer recommendation. Good question. For just general garden maintenance, if you're going to go still, probably the FS70, pretty good strimmer. Used one of them for quite a while. However, currently I don't run that now. I run the Hecko, I don't even know what the model of it's even called actually, 2620 something or other. I'll put the name of it down below. Great strimmer, really powerful for a 25-26cc engine, very close to the FS 130 from Stihl, the big 4MX. It's not far off that from my use. UK Garden Guy, Hayter 56 Pro or Toro Pro Strike 560. Well, that's again, if you see my Instagram, you'll know that my favoured is the Pro Strike. Much better engine, much better gearbox, and I find it collects better and it's nicer to use. They are more money, they're a few hundred quid more, which is a bit does put people off, but it is worth having over the 56 in my opinion. Hodgson Gardening Services, who's your favourite boy band? So he's asked, or she, whoever, worst mower you've used. That's either new or second hand. The worst mower I've used from new, based on collection, after cut appearance, well, there are two, and I think there's another question that relates to it, but I'll probably go to the Toro Turfmaster. That had little power, very well built, but wrong engine, and they've only just got around to changing the engine over in the States to a bigger engine, after years of people saying it was underpowered. But there you go. Worst second hand, gosh blimey, I bought so many used mowers when I was starting up, but they're all like Hayter 48s or 56s, so it's got to be probably some previous pro of some sort. That drive was knackered and the collection was awful. But yeah, it's, if you buy new now, you'll get quite a good mower. Tim Collin, Greg, if you're recommending a roller and a 4-wheel mower to someone starting out. Good question. Depends on your budget. Some people I know are happy with like the Hayter 41 Pro, which is the cheaper roller mower that they do because it's the smallest. Either that or probably the 48 Pro. Get a 2021, the 2019 one's gutless. Again, it all depends on what sort of budget, or else you could look at maybe like a, I don't know, Stiga, or Mountfield. They do some allegedly pretty good roller mowers. I haven't used one, but I have heard good stuff about them. 4-wheel mower, again, depends on budget. A lot of people I know have Toro recyclers, so it's sort of mid-range mower around the 500-600 quid mark, that you can get from most Hayter dealers, Hayter Toro dealers. Yeah, they're pretty good, but I don't think they will last quite a lot of years of punishment. Again, depends on your budget. I mean, if you can afford something around the £1,000 mark, you might look at something a bit more well built, heavy duty Kawasaki engine or a Honda GX engine. It's going to last and be reliable. And another question from Tim: any mower purchases you regret? So touching back on the Toro Turfmaster, very upset that that wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. A lot of people had problems with it going up slopes. I don't really do any guns with slopes, so that wasn't a problem for me. Again, lack of power, couldn't bag really anything at all unless it was bone dry. Seems to be a feature. So I discharged it, just made a mess. It wasn't very good in my opinion. But then I ended up getting a Toro Time Master, and slightly digressing here, but that's been probably one of the best mowers I've ever bought. The Time Master, the homeowner version of the Turfmaster, is better than the Turfmaster, so that was a bit bizarre. Also the Bang 4-wheel thing, well, I can't remember the name of it now. After all the hype on the Want to Be American Facebook group, everyone's saying it was so great, and it wasn't. First time I used it, I did that video, I think it's called Cutting Wet Grass, something like that. That was the first cut with it, and I was actually very disappointed. It struggled, basically. Saying that, once you get the high lift blade, which in itself is questionable if that's legal or not, because not many other companies sell aftermarket blades to basically make the mower work very well, but it's not noise regulations is the thing. Once you put their high lift blade on it, it did pack very well. Only have to get the engine revs tuned up to a point where if you release the mower, let go of it, the weight of the bag will fall onto the ground and the front wheels will come up in the air. But there was other problems with that mower. The shaft drive was ridiculous on that, too aggressive, tyres too aggressive. Nothing wrong with the engine, just not a good mower whatsoever. Then I bought Toro and I've still got it. So now questions from YouTube. First one's from Motown NI, Jeff. As one of the younger guys in the industry compared to me, do you have an exit strategy, or will you be mowing until you're 70? Good question. Don't know, to be honest with you, at the minute. First of all, we need to get through everything that's going on in the country, well, in the world at the minute. It's something that I usually think about in the summer. Most years I end up thinking of going into something different, but then where rain and grass keeps growing, then I'm fine and keep going. Again, just see what happens really. You never know what's around the corner. I wouldn't want to be mowing till I'm 70, probably. Depends if I can or not. Especially the way mowers are going, they're all going to be cordless and probably a bit naff, to be honest. I wouldn't want to use that either, so I don't know, probably not, but I don't know what I would do. So Jay Chillingworth, everyone knows Jay. Why do you use Hayter Toro over any other brand? Well, used Hayter from day one on work experience, and local dealer is a Hayter dealer, and more or less every other gardening company around my way uses Hayters, so it can't be that bad, can it? And then it's a case when starting out, you're looking for mower on eBay or whatever, roller mower, you always look towards a Hayter, maybe a Honda, but I find Hondas aren't that comfortable, as a lot of people also agree with. Toro, well, they're 21-inch mower, pretty good. There may be another mower on the scene this year that isn't from Hayter or Toro, so keep watching. But why would I use Hayter over Honda, I think is what you're basically saying. Ease of use, more practical, more functional, wider cut, wider roller, nicer to use, dealer support, parts, getting to the parts is easier. It's just an overall general nicer mower, really. Toro, well, Pro Stripe, same thing, isn't it? Again, as we proved in our test of cutting a high grass, the Toro and Hayter can cut a lot more heights than the Hondas as well. I think the only thing that cut high was the steel, and that was very close to the Toro with a smaller bag box, but there you go. So why do I use them? Because they're better. Houghton Garden Services. What is your view on the use of cordless electric garden machinery, and do you think there's a long-term future for cordless? For regular maintenance work, so you're trimming bushes every few months, that sort of strimming jobs weekly, no problem whatsoever. I have used the Husqvarna stuff for a little while. To be honest, I'm not too impressed on certain aspects of the stuff in terms of the comfort of the machine. It's just sort of bare plastic with no sort of grips or anything like that. Maybe other brands do, I don't know, to be honest with you. Then there's the initial outlay of cost, or the batteries and all that sort of stuff. I know over years you will save money, but you've got to invest a few grand in a lot of good kit. And then there's always a risk, which someone mentioned the other day. If you did invest 2-3 grand in a load of hedge cutters, blowers, strimmers, batteries, backpack batteries, and then it gets nicked a few days later, well, you're a bit stuck then. I'm sure it's always developing as well in terms of power. A few mowers are going that way now. Hayter have a 48 domestic model coming out next year. That'll be cordless. I think there might be a 41, not too sure. That can be useful, and again, if people don't bother with fuel for their own garden, I'm sure that'll be fine, but they'll have to keep the grass cut frequently, as I don't know what sort of power these things will have. That's another thing. I'm just worried that they'll put a bit like that today on some machines, an engine that isn't powerful enough for commercial use. So yeah, if they make a strimmer, it's got to have at least sort of 24cc at least for general work, and then at least a 30-50cc equivalent for clearance work. And mowers, again, they'll need to have a lot more oomph to them than they do now. That's all I'm going to say. Long-term future, probably. The way everyone is panicking over it all, everyone will be going that way. I'm not a fan of it. I prefer a 2-stroke machine. You can pick them up on eBay or whatever, do a carb clean, and then you bought a decent machine that works, and you might have only cost you 50 quid, whatever. You can't do that with cordless stuff. So there's those other things. I prefer to be able to fix things myself rather than do new wiring looms or something along those lines. So I'm not a fan. Some people are. I'm sure in the future everything will be, which is a bit crap, but there you Premier Lawns, last question. I plan to work until I'm dead. At this rate, won't be long. Well, you never know, Bertie. Greg, how did you get into this industry? How did you get in this industry, and what bit of advice would you give to someone just starting out? So how did I get in the industry in part one? Probably about 10-12 years ago, I was into growing fruit and veg. There was the whole sort of river cottage, grow your own, allotment share, all that sort of stuff was going on. Might be a little bit even longer than that. Mid 2000s. My grandpa had a veg patch at the bottom of his garden, and I always enjoyed help dig out the crops and rotivate soil. The little electric rotivator, which was good fun, you know, when you're, gosh, I was probably only about, how old am I now? Probably about 13, 14, something like that, maybe a bit younger back then. Enjoyed that, and then the first time I got into using the mower actually was at home cutting the grass to practice cricket. I was cutting basically a strip to practice bowling and batting on. So I enjoyed doing that, and then I suppose GCSEs came along. I had no idea what I was going to do, to be honest, and then ended up going to Maryswood College down here in Surrey. Great college, one of the best in the country, that one. And then just all started from there, really. There wasn't no initial sort of game plan, no business plans. I don't do any of that crap. My dad just said, why don't you make a leaflet and pop it round, and local houses. So I did that, and some of them I still got today. So, and that was 2010. That wasn't 2011. So 9 years later, can't be doing too bad. And what advice would I give to someone just starting out? If you are knowing that you want to be in the gardening sector of going house to house, garden to garden, cutting grass, weeding, pruning, hedge cutting, leaf clearing, that sort of stuff, do go to college, I would say. Don't bother with level 1 unless you're really thick. Level 2 and level 3 you probably level 3 you probably don't need to do, actually. Level 2 is fine. I'll pass that fairly easily, and they cover all sorts of stuff: landscaping, using things like tractors, which was good fun. You learn a lot about plants, their names, when to prune. You do things like grafting as well, which you don't need too much. If you want to be in like a nursery job, then you probably would want to do level 3, because you learn a lot more about grafting and that sort of stuff. But I'd say if you're into just the garden maintenance, mowing, that sort of stuff, do level 2, and you have to do work experience as part of that. And you're best off just trying to work with a local gardening company, and you'll probably learn more with them than you will at college, especially if you're with someone who really likes gardening. There are a lot of gardeners out there that just do it because it pays the bills, and they don't really actually give a toss about gardening, but they can probably work quite well. You probably want someone that knows what they're doing and cares what they're doing, cutting things back at the right time of year, hedge cutting the right time of year, pruning fruit trees, etc. You're best off work experience for that company, and then at the end of your college, see if you can still work with that company maybe 2-3 days a week, 4 days a week, and maybe do like a day a week doing your own stuff, and then gradually make them aware that you are setting, you have your own company, and just sort of see how things go. And then if they're supportive, they'll sort of maybe lend you tools if needs be. And then yeah, just try and sort of build your business up, but don't just drop your work experience company, because if they've got enough work for you, try to stay with them for quite a while. I stayed with the company I learnt with for quite a few years, about 3 or 4 years after college, and then my work just got bigger and better. So really enjoy those times as well, by the way, because you don't, especially at that age, you don't really have that many bills or anything like that to pay. You're not worried about too much in general. Yeah, that would be my advice. Go to college, get work experience with a good gardener, and then, because college doesn't teach you, well, it didn't when I was there, best ways for mowing, best ways for strimming, hedge cutting. We probably did about a day in total on those subjects. And you think college is, you know, there's a lot of days, so it's quite a lot of it is a load of BS, but that's part of the to get the certificate you have to do it. So that would be my advice. So there you are, that's all the questions answered. Thanks everyone for asking the questions on both forms of social media. Great to interact with everyone that bothered. And I will have some more videos coming out soon. Take care. So just got another question from Jason Gardner, and that was, what upgrades are Hayter planning, if any? Well, there's quite a few upgrades, or some would call it fixing stuff that maybe should have been sorted before. 41 Pro, basically metal rollers now, and it's got slightly slower drive speed, and the new GCVX R2D2C3PO 145 engine. I think there'll be, well, it's got less power basically, and at times the current 160 lacks power for wetter conditions. Another thing is on the roller bearings, more like bushes really. There is a metal support plate on it to help stop it cracking. That's on all 41, 48 and 56. I'm guessing the Pro Stripe as well series. And yeah, I think that's about that. The 48 Pro, that's got slightly slower drive speed, brand new blade design. Yeah, again, seems pretty promising from my use so far. So yeah, new drive speed, or slightly slower, not much slower. It is still quick, too quick for wet grass, unless you're going to put a plastic box on it. There is a kit available for 2019 models. If you've had, I think there's the official sort of wording from Hayter is, unless you've had problems in the wet, you can't have it basically, but everyone's had problem with them in the wet, so everyone should have the upgrade. If you have the mower serviced as well, that's a good time to do it, because then they can install the drive kit, which is a new crank boss and gearbox pulley. Sorry, a crank pulley, not a boss. And so there's a new drive speed for the 48. It's slightly slower, still too quick, especially when it hasn't got a plastic box for the wet to let the air escape, which seems a bit sort of bizarre. And for the 2019 model, you can fit the new blade and the speed reduction kit under warranty if you've had problems in the wet, which everyone has. It's also got a new copper infused pulley, belt pulley for the BBC. They had a few models that broke last year. I think it's about 15, something like that. So they've put that on the new BBC versions of the 48 and the 56 and the Pro Stripe, and the new 170 engine, which I don't know if it's good or not. Some people have said it's good, so let's see. The 56, again, new blade design, same as the 48, exactly the same. And the new copper infused pulley for the BBC models, and then the protective bushings on the rollers. There are rumours, or well, not rumours, but talks from dealers about chain guards now getting metal. Either there'll be a metal strip or it'll all be metal, I don't know. I hope it'll all be metal because it'll look a lot better than being half plastic, half metal like the steel. But I don't know when that's coming. It may be, I don't know, it could be the summer. With everything going on in the world, you never know, could be for next year. Hopefully Soltex will be on this year. Again, with the virus going around. We don't know what's happening. Hopefully, being November, it's quite a long way yet. It will be on, but we will see.